Person who's anxious, overthinking, or playing conversations, this usually manifests as a person in fight or flight. So the body is not stable, can't focus, inconsistent. But because you don't know how to calm yourself, you feel guilty for relaxing. You beat yourself up for lack of results, or you're not seeing results fast enough, or maybe that you're not working hard enough. So you distract yourself to stay calm because anxiety and overthinking, it really puts a person in a emotional state that the body has a hard time trying to maintain. So to stay calm, you try to distract yourself. So you always have something playing in the background because this calms your inner voice. You can't really hear your inner voice. And a reason why all of this happens is because you're trying to control the outcome. You're trying to prevent harm and you're trying to find safety. The way that you do that is through work. But the real solution is to find safety in the present moment. Realize that there is a force that you are under. And this is part of the reason why you are in the situation. Once you understand this, you can gain clarity. And this will help you cope with your reality and help you move past your blockers. It will help you understand your past, your present, and how to see your future. So here's the concept that you have to understand. It's destiny, God's will. So your life is not all good, right? But at the same time, it's not all bad either. You have experienced traumatizing experiences and experienced happy moments in your life. And this is a fact. So let's talk about the good things in life in general. Having a healthy body, having a healthy mind is something that we perceive as good, something that we desire. Getting wealth, a family that loves you and you love them, and a family and friends that you can confide in, and just feeling the emotions of peace in regards to what you're doing. This is the good in the world. But then there are also evil. There's also bad experiences in the world. And what do that entail? Illnesses, poverty, war, people who emotionally, physically, and psychologically harm you and harm other people. In this world, there's both good and evil. But if it was our choice, we would not experience pain in this world at all, correct? If we had real power, we would not allow harm to hit us or our loved ones for 1 second. And this is what some of us are trying to do. Our nervous system puts us in a flight mode to work, to get money, so that we can feel safe from poverty, from homelessness, or the opportunity to leave a harmful situation. And this is not a bad perspective. I would say that this is part of reality. But taking this mentality to extremes is where it becomes destructive. Thinking that you can prevent harm at all costs, that is an unrealistic expectation of reality. Thinking that there is a possibility that you can live life without harm on earth, well, that's just not true. And that's simply for one reason. This goes against the creation of this world. There will always be a possibility of harm. And the biggest harm of all is the only certainty in life is death. Knowing that there's good and evil, and knowing that we cannot prevent harm, and that we are not in absolute utter control, and we can't change our situation with a snap of the fingers. We know that we are bounded. We know that there is a creator, and the reason for this world to be in this particular way is because he created this world to be in this particular way. Everything that has entered into the existence of this world, everything that is created of the good, of the evil actions, of peace, and of the wars, it's all by God's creation, by God's knowledge, by God's decree, and his will. And this is what is the meaning of God's will, of destiny, that there is one creator, and this creator creates everything. So let's clarify good versus evil. This does not mean that God is attributed and described as evil. This is because he does what he wills, because he's the owner of everything that he creates. However, we humans are what acquire evil. When we have the intention to commit evil, and this evil can be yelling at somebody, cussing at somebody, hurting somebody's feelings, this is considered evil. By God's will, God allows us, he wills for that to happen. By God's will, we act on those evil intentions. And because of our actions, we acquire those consequences. So we are at fault. What I'm trying to say is that we are not forced to commit evil. Our choice, our intentions are under the will of God. But at the end of the day, we are the ones who made these choices. So ultimately, we have a responsibility. We are accountable for ourselves and for what we do. And this is something the mind accepts. So this is why we don't say God is evil, because we are the one who acquire these evil acts. We are the ones who do it without being forced. The question should be, why is there evil in this world? And there's really one simple answer to that. It's because God created it. He willed for this earth to be the specific way. This evil or pain is a means for us to reflect, to think about our existence, the existence of this world, the creator of life and death, to find the conclusion of why we are alive and what happens afterwards. After finding the truth, it's our job to stick to it. This evil, it's a means of refining ourselves, to detach from the sources that give us pain and attach ourselves to a life after death. So God created this world the way it is because of his will. Could it be the possibility that God willed for this world to be so that we do not eat, that we do not have to sleep? This world could be created in a way such that pain did not exist. But this is not what God willed for. Paradise, though, there is no pain. In paradise, evil does not exist. There isn't war, there isn't hunger, there isn't famine, there isn't illness, there's not even a headache. No anxiety, no depression, no ruminating, no overthinking. Nothing like that exists in Paris. But they do here. And why is that? Again, it's God's will. Again, without this pain, we would not reflect. We would not find the truth. We would not think. But because pain exists, it causes us to take a step back and think, what is going on here? Something that really causes us to humble ourselves is to know that the creator, he is the owner of everything. And so what does creation mean? Let's start with that. Creation means to bring something from non-existence to existence. So it didn't happen and then it happened. God created everything with a measure. This means the bodies, the actions, the good, the evil, the disbelief, faith, obedience or disobedience, without exception. Everything in this world is created by God. He brought it forth from non-existence into existence. It does not make sense to say, I created my wealth, my children, or life. What some people say, my thoughts manifested, I manifested, with the definition of creation, this is obviously not true. Or we can't sit here and just say, I'm going to manifest a cup of water in front of me. That's not how that works. So everything that has a beginning, it was created by God, and he is the owner. So you and I, we didn't create ourselves, and this is a fact. We didn't do anything to earn our bodies. Seeing, hearing, the ability to eat or taste food, to digest food. These are attributes that were given to us by God. Some people, they don't have these gifts, and there's nothing they can do about it. Are there people who are blind, who are deaf? Did they will for themselves to be like this? Did they even want this situation to happen for themselves? And more importantly, can they even change their situation to start seeing or hearing again, simply by wanting to? What can they do? So God is the owner of us, our possessions, our kids, even our wealth. Wealth is not something that we manifest by our own will or intelligence or even effort. Money is by the will of God. If I am poor, I am so because God willed for me to be so. I'm trying to change my situation, right? I'm trying to work. I'm trying to find a job. But the door does not open until God wills for that door to open. My effort does not open that door. My intelligence does not open that door. I take the means. I try to change my situation by applying, by taking courses, by networking. This is what it means by taking the means. But if God did not will for me to get a job, there is nothing that I can do or anybody else can do that will get me this job. A big part of anxiety, stress, and depression is lack of acceptance, objecting to your situation, to having these particular parents, to your past, or your siblings, or even where you were born. So these are factors that in our lives that we did not choose, and these are by God's will. And it's important that you do not object. Objection is defined as an expression or feeling of disapproval or oppression. So it's a reason for disagreeing. If someone objects, it means that they are saying that God is unjust. He gave us everything, therefore he is the owner of everything. And he can do with his possessions whatever he wills. I have a laptop. I pay for this laptop. If I grab my laptop and smashed it, I can do that. Nobody's going to put me in jail. Why? Because it's my laptop. I paid for it. It's my possession. I can do whatever I want with it. So if someone is a Muslim and they object in the heart and follow this objection without dismissing it and really feeling that what is happening to them is unjust, this is clear blasphemy. An objection is what Satan did. He objected to God and he blasphemed. So a Muslim has to say the Shahada loud enough for themselves to hear to enter Islam again while leaving this particular action out. Acceptance is peace. With God's will, everything is eternally planned. The eternal management of God means making everything as it is according to God's will and God's knowledge and God's power. This means that your past, your present, and your future, your loved ones, what's happening with humanity, All of it is allowed to happen by God's will. And there is a particular wisdom for this that we might understand and we might not understand. Again, a big part of this is detaching from this world and really realizing that this is not all of it. This can't be all of it. What is justice? What is the meaning of justice? How do we find peace? Again, this is for a particular wisdom that we might or we might not understand. Again, something that's really important to understand is that wealth is not by my will. Wealth is not created or manifested by hard work or by action, or again, even by intelligence. If that was the case, then there will be a clear correlation between hard work and wealth. The employees at the bottom of the food chain, they will be making more money than the CEOs at the top of the food chain. People in third world countries who literally work 10 times harder than we do in America will be making more money. Also, intelligence is not what creates wealth, and definitely not charm. How many people do we know that are intelligent, but they are still not wealthy? Again, the creator of the results is God. So we cannot do without our creator for a blink of an eye or for breathing. If someone else is sleeping, he inhales, but then he loses the ability to exhale. What happens to him? He passes away. Even with your own breath, you cannot do without God. And this is the first step of really calming the anxiety and the overthinking and accepting your situation. So when something bad happens and you're reflecting, don't think that it happened out of randomness or that it was an accident. Everything in your life has happened at an appointed time. So for example, if someone was in a car accident, this accident, it happened at the appointed time, meaning this car accident, where it happened, when, and the person that they got a car accident with, all of this was by the decree of God. This accident, it was not postponed, and it didn't happen faster than it should have happened, and that it could have not been prevented. Some situations in your life are like that. Don't say, if I didn't go out, I would not be in this car accident. If I didn't take this job, I wouldn't have been here. If I got this degree, I would be here by now. If I didn't have these parents, I would not be this particular person. When you decided, you did so for a reason. You did that with the knowledge that you had, with the thought process that you had, with a particular desire that you wanted. So accept the situation as it is and realize that you are managed in a particular way. You are looked after. You are being taken care of. If statements opens the door to intrusive, ruminating, and destructive thoughts that keep you in a loop that you just cannot escape. These loops are never ending. They can always go back. If I did this, then this would have happened. And if I did that, then this would happen. If I do this, then this would happen. But what if this happens? And then this happens. There's 100 million possibilities. Instead, say, whatever God willed to happen, it happened. And the reason why it didn't happen is because God did not will it to happen. You do not know the wisdom, and you do not know the reason of why you're in this particular situation. And sometimes you will never ever know. But that is really not your purpose in life. It's not to know every single thing and understand every single thing. I'm in this situation. I accept my situation. How do I move on? It's about reflecting and finding the objective truth that is truly your purpose in life. It's not to have a perfect life where you don't ever feel harmed. You will be harmed, and that's okay. You will have the courage to stand back up and change your life. But the start of that is really being calm and calming yourself, because this will give you the ability to think properly. And this will not happen without the pillar of spirituality. So people ask, are humans predetermined, or do we have free will? It is said that human has free will to choose under the will of God. So we have the ability to choose. So with our ability to choose, we make choices. But these choices are limited. We choose actions within the will of God. We do not choose something except what God will for us to choose. So our will is created. Who created this will? God. Therefore, our will is under the will of God. We do not will everlastingly, without bounds and limitations. We do not have eternal and everlasting knowledge. Most of our choices, again, come from childhood, parents, and environments. And these choices are still under the will of God. God even willed for us to have these particular parents, to be in this environment, to have this particular childhood. I did not choose my parents. And if I had the choice to choose some other parents, I would probably choose other parents. And I think a lot of people with trauma would also say the same. Because of our parents and because of the environment that we were born in, this shaped our psychology, our spirituality, our finances, and everything else. So that even this, simply by God's will of giving us these particular parents, we became a particular person. Even who we are and what we experience is by God's will. God knew what was going to happen, and he willed for it to happen. So even in this situation, accept God's will. Because honestly, what can you do about it? So this is something that the mind accepts. This is objectively true. What God wills to happen, happens. And what he does not will to happen, will not happen. So in your situation, core reason as to why it has not changed It's simply because God did not will for it to happen. And there is a wisdom in that. Maybe if you got what you wanted, it would completely and utterly destroy you. Maybe there is a lesson that you need to learn before getting what you want. Maybe this particular situation that you're in right now is what's causing you to reflect and to think about God and return back to Him. And this is by far the most important aspect in your life. I want to emphasize here that this does not negate the rules of cause and effect. So, in this world, God has established two things: the law of cause and effect. So, in the normal course of people's life, the cause exists. And when the cause exists, the effect exists. And this is normal course of events. We are able to learn, to adapt, and to build. We are able to live life and think properly without second guessing what's happening. But if God wills that the cause exists, but the effect does not exist, this can also happen. Because the cause is not what creates the effect. My hard work does not cause money. Me eating does not cause satisfaction. The food itself does not cause satisfaction, right? How many times that some people would eat and they just can't find satisfaction in what they're eating? They're still hungry. If you want to take example from Islam, I can talk about the fire. Fire is a cause for burning. If God willed, the fire exists, but there is no burning, and it can happen. And it's exactly what happened with Prophet Ibrahim. The people against him prepared a great fire, so immense that they could not even approach it. They couldn't even come close to it. But they threw him into it via a catapult. Then, when he was thrown into the fire did not burn him. Fire usually burns, but it did not burn Prophet Ibrahim, nor did it burn his clothes, his hair, or his body, because fire does not create the attribute of burning. So Ibrahim walked out of the fire and there was no harm to him at all. So the one who creates warmth and burning when it occurs is God. Medicine does not create healing. Rather, medicine is a means to healing for whoever God willed. When a person gets sick with a disease and he gets a specific medication for that, somebody recovers, but some people don't recover. Why is that? Two people with the same disease, same sickness, they are given the same medicine, they're given the same process, yet one recovers and one does not recover. And why is that? This is because God created the healing for one specific person, but did not create the healing for another person. I have a business, and in business, you have so many people telling you, this system got me 3 clients in 60 days, and I make $3K per month. Do the same, and you will get the same results. But when I try to implement the system with the same industry, or even with similar follower count, it does not happen. This is because marketing does not manifest results. Neither do my efforts. I did everything correctly for years, followed so many systems, but I was still stuck. The lesson for me before I got results was don't attribute success to my efforts, to a system, or even to the fact that I have 5K followers. None of that matters. It doesn't matter how much I have or how much time I put in or what systems I implement. I know at the core, the reason why my situation is still like this is because of God's will. Maybe there's something I need to learn. Maybe there's a pivot that I need to make. Maybe there's a skill that I need to acquire. And I'm taking the means to do that. But even by that, I'm still submitting and accepting to the fact that I am in this situation because God willed for the situation to manifest for me. If God willed, He can give me the proper knowledge that I need to make 3K in 3 months. And He can do so right now. But maybe, again, there is a lesson that I need to learn before I level up. But this does not go against the fact that I'm still taking the means, that I'm studying, that I'm implementing, adjusting. But I still can't force anybody to buy from me. I can't create my own wealth. I can't make people pay me. All I can do is take the means and not give up. And a person must do this. A person has to continue to give the means, not give up, but on God for the results. And that means if you're having a particular problem, a particular thought process that you just can't overcome, or a solution that you just can't think of, ask God for the solution. And whoever remembers this, they will have true reliance on the creator of the cause and the effect. And this is God. And the heart will be at peace. This is one of the first pillars of how anxiety and overthinking will drastically decrease. And I'm still working on this every single day, reminding myself that God is in control. That if I need something, go make dua. But again, you work with the means, but your true reliance is on God. It's not on this particular person. It's not on your efforts. It's not on this system. It's not even on you, the money that you make or that you will make, or even your intelligence. You deep down know that God is the one who creates this situation for you. And if He wills, He will facilitate a means for you to get out. Again, and the prerequisite of this is knowing that God exists, knowing that God is the one who takes care of your affairs. He is the one who creates situations for you to get out, and that He is the one who provides for you.